biology. Okay, I guess somebody's recording it. Okay, thank you. If you are one of my students or the parent of one of my students, write biology in all caps into the chat. I'm mostly covered in AP Bio, usually in the first few days of class, right? Then AP Bio leaps ahead. Um, If your school offers classes like independent study, independent research, but you're not going to be able to get to those classes without taking certain numbers of other science classes, sometimes for some students, it's worthwhile testing out of those other classes. For example, if you've been excited about biology since sixth grade and you've been reading and studying and feel ready to take an AP exam, you can often, go ahead, take that AP Bio exam and go to your school and be like, hey, I got a 5 on the AP. How about I skip the AP Bio class and instead take the research class or something, right? The other thing that colleges really look, yes, I'll happily share this doc with y'all. The other thing that colleges really look for is your real world experience. I have some students who are most comfortable reading a textbook. They find it interesting and exciting, and they love it, and it's intellectually really engaging. And maybe working with other people on projects is less comfortable for them. And so they might really stick with independent projects and independent work and independent studying for tests and contests. However, when we are applying for colleges, they are actively looking for, have you had practice being a leader? Have you had practice working in a team, being a follower, collaborating? If you're applying to Caltech, there's a whole question about collaboration, other schools too, but certainly Caltech really wants to see that you can collaborate. And where do you get that real world experience? Usually through school activities, but also from outside of school activities. Wait, I'm sorry. Is the recording paused? No, the recording is not paused. Okay, good. Yes. Sorry, someone was giving me a comment. Is it okay to not have an AP Bio course on your school transcript, but just take the exam? Oh, fantastic question. So we call that, locally, students call it self-studying. I would call it independently studying, right? It's just not in your transcript, but you still took the exam. As long as you got a good score on that exam, it looks good. You can make the argument in your application. I was fascinated by the topic. I studied myself. I did really well in the exam. You can see that I'm really motivated. Yeah. At the same time, I do tell people that if your high school teacher is a good teacher, how do you know if your high school teacher is going to be a good teacher? Ask other students. Ask the teacher how many of their students get fives, right? But if your high school teacher is a good teacher who will get you, who will help you learn and grow, it's honestly really nice to take AP Bio at school. You get to really sit with the material a long time. You get to understand it from a lot of perspectives. You get to do labs at school. So I do recommend taking it at school, assuming you have a good biology teacher at school. If the biology teacher at school is terrible, if they just give a lot of busy work that is kind of irrelevant, if they mostly just never lecture, they just give you handouts or whatever, or if they're the kind of teacher who plays YouTube videos and has an AI write the worksheets for you and an AI grade the worksheets for you, right? That might not be worth your time at school. In that case, you might as well just study on your own. Separately, is it worth taking a class with someone like me or a teacher maybe outside of school? Again, some students will sit down, read the textbook themselves, and do great. They don't need someone like me. Other students, even though they're really smart and really capable, find that someone like me still is really helpful because I can help students, any good teacher can help students make connections between parts of the textbook, they wouldn't have made the connections themselves. A really good teacher can ask students questions in a different way. A good teacher can notice when a student is completely missing out something, right? And so, I do think a teacher is better than no teacher, but I think it's perfectly possible to completely independently study for the exams. I'll be telling you later whether you want to independently study or with my help or with school, how I would recommend doing that. All right. So back to what are colleges looking for? They really do want the real world experience of working on a team, working with others, having a passion, having a project, having a long-term project. Doesn't have to be a biology project, but having any sort of long-term project is really cool for them to see on your application. If you're thinking that you want to apply to medicine, any kind of level of medicine, doctor, nurse, whatever, they really want to see that you have a genuine care for other human beings. And so generally volunteering is a great use of your time because good luck getting into medical school with no volunteering experience. I don't think it's possible. Like you have to demonstrate in some way that you are a caring, empathetic human being other than just saying it, right? You have to demonstrate it to them. And volunteering is one way to do that. There we go. Now I spelled it right. Now, volunteering in a medical field is great, but while volunteering in any way that helps others can still demonstrate empathy and give you opportunities to work on a long-term project, to be a leader, a team player, a collaborator, right? And so volunteering can be a great way to get really useful real-world experience that is also helpful in college applications. Now, shadowing. If you are too young, I'm talking to you middle schoolers and ninth graders, if you're too young to really get like meaningful opportunities in labs yet, shadowing is a great way to get started. Volunteering at animal shelter sounds wonderful. I totally didn't put it on the list, but veterinary work counts. It's biology related, right? Zoology. Um, Gosh, isn't that everyone's dream job to work at the zoo? Just mine. Um, really, really cool career options out there. But back to shadowing. Let me ask all y'all, if like a cute 8-year-old walked up to you and was like, wow, you go to such and such school? What's that like? Wouldn't you be kind of excited to tell them about it? Wouldn't you want to show them? In the same way, when an adorable 14-year-old kid, 17-year-old kid walks up to an adult and says, wow, you work in data analysis? Can I buy you a coffee and hear all about it? That adult is generally incredibly flattered and very excited to share their life and experience. And that is how one gets shadowing opportunities. One can ask through your parents and your parents' networks and your friends' parents' networks and your relatives' friends' networks. Just keep asking, work your network to find people who do jobs that are of interest to you, and then you approach them. That's, a lukewarm contact and that, somebody who knows them. So when you're sending the message, it doesn't come out of nowhere. Or you can pick a company that you're excited about, look up the emails of some of the people who work there, look up the jobs of some of the people who work there, and try cold emailing. I know that's really scary, but the worst thing that's going to happen is they'll ignore your email. And the best thing that'll happen is they'll reply feeling really flattered and be willing to hang out with you, right? Either way, what that creates is gives you an opportunity to hear what jobs are like and whether they might be a good fit for you. I had to discover the hard way researching wasn't a good fit for me, you know? But I think if I had, eh, I wanted to make my parents happy, I would have gone into research no matter what because was going to make them happy. But I think the more as a kid you learn what jobs are actually like, the better prepared you are to make decisions about what the future is that you want, right? I bet you know what your parents' jobs are like, and I bet you know what your teachers' jobs are like because you see those people every day. But I bet you have no actual clue what a patent lawyer does day to day, or what it's like, or how much sleep they get at night, or how much time they get with their family, right? I bet you have no clue what, a primate um, researcher's life is actually like, right? You don't know, and you won't know until you talk to them. So I strongly, strongly recommend shadowing, especially if you're too young to get internships. Also, shadowing can lead to internships. It leads to connections in fields that you're interested in. Internships means you have an actual role long term at a place where you're contributing to the work they're doing. This could be in a lab, this could be at the dentist office, this could be at a psychologist's office, this could be in any context, right? But internships not just look great on your resume, not just give you a lot of information about a field that you're potentially interested in, not just look good for colleges. Internship is like the best real world experience short of actually doing the job, right? And if you're thinking that's the job you want to do, maybe for the rest of your life, you're not sure. Internships are a great way to check it out. And yes, colleges love seeing some internships on your resume. They demonstrate that when you say, I want to be a biologist, you mean it. Because you've really been there, you've done it, and you still know that you like it. Summer programs are one of those things that can be available, possible. What kind of internships can a high schooler get? You'd be shocked and amazed. So, to be completely honest, I think if you talk to 30 students who got internships, most of them will have gotten them through a friend of their families, right? They worked their network to get their very, very first internship experience or their very first shadowing experience that then they got to turn into an internship experience. It was probably through a friend of the family. But the other way students often get internships is actually through summer programs. So summer programs like Cosmos, summer programs like SSSIP. Um, Cosmos is at a few different schools. SSSIP is at Stanford. They're programs that connect students with professors and have students working with professors on something. And so they kind of connect you to a field that you're interested. They allow you to make connections with people who are working that field. That's one great way to get internships. I've also had students, and this does work, cold email labs that they're interested in, cold email businesses that they're interested in, just like for shadowing, and just ask, I'm looking for an internship. Do you have anything that you need done around? Could I just come say hello, meet people? Could I ask you questions? Do you need someone to fetch coffee? I'd love to, stir some beakers or something, right? Like I'm being silly, but it involves that. Now, if you're emailing a Stanford Alzheimer researcher, you won't get an answer because the Stanford Alzheimer researchers get probably 15 to 20 emails from hopeful students a day. But if you email some guy studying, I don't know, fish beetles in Monterey Bay, they probably don't get as many emails asking for internship. If you email somebody who's in ecology or environmental science, or something that's not so charismatic as Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's like is a super charismatic, well-known, famous disease. You know, Message someone who's going into glial disorders, and see if they need somebody around the lab. You can often get opportunities just by asking. Yes, I will share this document with you after the meeting. I just can't do it right now while I'm talking. How about an internship in a company that is not related to biology, but there is collaboration? Yes, it counts. It counts as real world experience working with people who are not at your school, working with adults. Working with adults looks great on your resume. I don't know Lawrence Lab specifically, but a lab is a good lab. Yes. Hands-on experience. Um, even if your real world experience is not directly related. So, for example, I've had students who got biology internships, but they wanted to be chemists. They can still say, this is what I learned from my internship, and this is how it proved to me how much I really want to be a chemist. Like you can also say that and get great opportunities as a result. Mm, ah, great question. So, can you get an internship if you don't have AP Bio under your belt? Depends on the internship. Sometimes they're like, we're going to have to teach you everything you need to know anyway. We don't care. Sometimes they really like to see some transcripts and some past experience. I mean, it really depends on the individual person who's running that lab, right? For the summer programs, the more you can show them, the better, right? The more you can show them your passion, your commitment, your hard work, your ability to handle challenging academic concepts, the more likely you are to be accepted. I do believe that a curious kid with a good attitude and persistence can find interesting, useful internships. They're there. Like, first off, kids are adorable. Adults like giving them opportunities. Second off, it's free labor. Adults don't mind having a kid who is doing some free labor around the lab and helping them get some stuff done, assuming they can trust the kid to do a good job, right? So yeah, it's available, it's out there. You might not get the Alzheimer's internship, you might not get the paid internship, but there are opportunities out there. SSSIP seems to be designed for international students. Huh, interesting. So many of my students who are local students have done SSSIP and have done really well in it. In fact, I had one student, she came back, she was like, people called me the biology whiz. Like everyone was asking me all these questions. She was like super excited that she was so capable of helping others at that program, right? So no, I think as far as I can tell, maybe they've updated the program recently, but as far as I can tell, local students do really well at it. And often local students can find internship opportunities through it. The students who tend to do well at SSSIP, like the some of the professors that will ask students to intern further. SSSIP also is for students out of California. Yeah. Uh, I worked with several kids from the east of the United States who went to SSSIP. All right. Right. Do we feel like we have more questions about this real world experience little section before I keep going? What I was saying, sorry. What I was saying is you ask, you look. They don't come to you. It's like applying for a job, except there's no job postings, right? You can find an internship at any time with anybody, but one has to ask, one has to apply, one has to look. And I wouldn't recommend having like the same email every time either. Like, look for opportunities that look genuinely interesting, apply with genuine interest, and hope that they read your email and reply. All right. So, uh, competitions. Uh, competitions can look good to colleges if you have done fairly well at them. Now, in the USABO, making it to the semifinal already makes you look pretty good. Only 20 students in the whole United States will make it to finalist. So I would not recommend my students do USABO committed to being finalist no matter what. Listen, a lot of really smart, really capable, really amazing kids who get into MIT and Stanford did not make finalist. That's okay. Having made finalist really does open a lot of doors, really does create a lot of connections because as finalist, you work with a lot of professors at like the finalist USABO camp, which is kind of cool. Um, so finalist looks great, But even semifinalist looks good on an application. However, and of course, USABO isn't the only competition. Whatever competition you're doing, my biggest suggestion is see it as an opportunity to learn more, right? Don't look at it as an opportunity to win. You might not win, but you'll definitely learn if you look at it as an opportunity to learn. I've had students who, by the way, won international science fair competitions after taking classes with me, but no, they never really super great on the USABO. Multiple choice isn't really their jam, you know? The point is, when you grow as a biologist, which you can use exams and competitions as an excuse to grow as a biologist, when you grow as a biologist, you can apply it to all of biology, frankly, all of science, and frankly, all of academics. Competitions can look good if you're fairly successful at them. Okay. Now, I'm about to start answering a lot of questions on the AP Bio exam and the USABO exam. Any questions before I move on to those? All right. By the way, here is just a list of competitions and contests. The BBO, the British biology exams have like three levels, like challenge, intermediate, and the Olympiad level. For years, it was really easy to take them as a United States students. Last year, it got really weird and hard. This year, we'll see what's going to happen. I know Spring Light is trying to make sure those exams are more available to our students. I really like the Polygens competition for the simple fact that one of my students helps write this contest. And I think she is brilliant. And I think the contest is very nicely designed to help scientists, like students, grow as scientists when they take it. Other really cool tests out there, the Science Bowl, the Ocean Science Bowl, the Science Olympiad. I think someone at least earlier mentioned the USMDA. I think it's the medical science one. So I've not actually looked at that one, but my understanding it, yeah, all these contests are recognized. Like if you do well at any of these contests, what it's showing, well, okay. If you're doing a contest in general, it shows a college that you're excited about the topic. Because why would you do a contest if you weren't excited about the topic? Right? It's evidence of interest when a college looks at your application. If you're doing well, it shows something else about you. It shows that you know more than other people who are taking that contest. And when it's a big national contest like the USABO, right? That shows how you're doing compared to everybody else in a way that you getting an A at your local school might not be able to show how well you're really doing compared to everybody else. Um, Listen, if you make semifinalist but not finalist, that's okay. You still made semifinalist. Be proud of what you did accomplish, and it still does look good. They're not, they're aware only 20 people in the United States make finalist. They're not going to go, oh no, you're not top 20? I guess you don't belong at our school. That's not how it works. For one thing, they want more than 20 students to attend their program every year, right? They're also aware that you can show mastery and interest in a variety of ways. So again, I had a student who I don't think she barely squeaked into semifinalist, but like she did some great internships and she did some great science work and science fair work. Yeah, I should probably say science fair on here. That's a great experience to be part of. And they were fighting each other for her. They love to have her, you know? What science Olympic ed categories are best for a bio-interested kid? There's actually a lot. Like the forensics one is really cool. The physiology, some of there are different physiology ones each year. Like, and it changes every year, if I remember correctly, with Science Olympiad categories, or is that science? Whether it's Science Bowl or Science Olympiad, like do the things that make you excited to learn, right? How miserable will you be stuck memorizing something you're not actually interested in? Don't do contests if it's not in a subject you want to learn. Do the contests that make you happy to learn more. Can I talk about forensics? Well, forensics is first off a brilliant biology-based career. Um, it's very science-based, very lab-based, very critical thinking based, and can potentially help solve big problems, right? I think there's specifically like forensic schools that you need to apply to. I have not researched that career path for myself, but tell you what, if you're really curious about it, send me an email and I'll see what we can learn together. Someone is mentioning the IAC competition. Um, as far as I know, if the competition is on a state level or a national level, they will have heard about it, they'll recognize it. They will also often want you to tell them like if you're worried it's an obscure contest, right? Tell them what the contest is about. Tell them who's participating in the contest. If it's a contest that three people at your school are doing and then nobody else in the world, maybe it's not a very special contest, right? But if it's a contest that students from all across America are doing, then they'll have heard about it and it means something. Right. Uh, the Polygens competition is a biology-based competition and it's about data interpretation. So look it up. It's cool. I like it. One of my students writes it. I think it's very cool. Um, does Springlight offer classes for Sci-Ollie? I don't think so, but ask Springlight about that. I don't offer classes for Sci-Ollie specifically. Okay, so let's say you want to take some classes through Springlight. You might want to take those classes for a few reasons. First off, you might be starting off as, um, you know, you're a rising freshman. You know, you have to take bio at school. You're scared. You heard everybody fails biology at school. And so, honestly, any of the biology classes at Springlight will set you up to get an A at biology in school. I had students who've come, honors bio is a class we provide for kids with zero background, usually middle schoolers, sometimes rising ninth graders. And, I've had students who really struggled with it. It was all so new to them. And then they got straight A's at school, and biology was their easiest class. This is a great class to prepare you for school biology and a great class to check if you like biology and if you want to learn more, right? We also have middle school students, even sixth graders, coming in straight to take our AP Bio or our USABO class. The difference between Honors Bio, AP Bio, and USABO class is the amount of content and the speed the student has to learn it at. Honors Bio goes slowly, AP Bio goes medium fast. USABO goes fast because we have a lot to cover in a short period of time. If you take USABO, it still prepares you for the AP test. Just to give you a sense of this, right? This is your understanding or your goals. This is the class. This is the prep class, and this is the test here, right? If you take the USABO class with me, it still prepares you for an AP test. It'll still prepare you for biology classes at school. It'll still prepare you for basically any biology thing you ever want to do. USABO covers, the USABO class covers this entire monstrous textbook, pretty much every page of it, right? So the goal of that USABO class is to give you a very thorough college level grounding in every biology topic you might need for the USABO exam, which is a big old exam. Yeah, but also AP. If you just take the AP bio class, we use the same textbook, but we only cover 2/3 of it. We don't cover the whole textbook because the AP exam doesn't cover the whole thing. Now, I'm seeing your question, Chloe, sorry. When we have the classes at Springlight, I'm teaching over Zoom. Generally, students have no problem paying attention. But we also have the classes videotaped. Usually they're available by the next morning. because we have to upload, we have to download, we have to move the files around, but they're usually available by the next morning for students to be able to re-watch those videos in their own time. Um, Often same day, sometimes by the next morning. Um, when we have students with a bit more biology experience, by which I mean students who've either independently read this book or have taken an AP exam or just have been learning a lot of biology in their free time and they feel pretty confident. What I make available is what I call the Advanced USABO class, which has 4 units: physiology, botany, genetics, and cell and molecular biology. Students can choose, each of these units are an independent unit. You can choose to take just 1 unit or 2 units or all 4 units at the same time. It's totally up to you. Just depends on how much time and energy you have, right? I'm seeing a question here. The advanced USABO class seems quite fast-paced. Do you think the timeline will allow for a thorough understanding of the concepts? I think I have students who do get a very thorough understanding of the concepts. They will come to class, then they will sit down and work for like 2, 3 hours in the afternoon. Then they'll come to the next day's class and they'll sit and work for another 2, 3 hours that afternoon. And every day, like they're grinding this understanding into a deeper and deeper understanding. It's like a deep learning project that they've taken on. I mean, a lot of you are doing a lot of learning at school, but you're doing a little bit in every possible class, right? If you take the advanced USABO, you're doing deep learning about just this topic, right? It's completely doable. And it's not the best fit for everyone. Sometimes students only take the physiology and botany, and then separately they take the genetics and the cell molec, right? They'll spread it out. That's why I teach it as 4 separate units, so you can choose what's a good fit for you. All right. Okay. Um, so I'm seeing a bunch of questions up there. Let me just copy and paste them so I don't lose track of them. I'll come back to these. Whoops. There we go. So if you're looking at what do we offer at Springlight this summer, Honors Bio, AP Bio, USABO, Advanced USABO. If you're a less experienced student, take one of these 3. If you take USABO and bounce off of it because it's too fast, level down to AP Bio. It's really easy to drop a level. If AP Bio still feels too hard, you can level down to Honors Bio. Really easy to drop a level with us. If you already have these as a strong background, just jump into Advanced USABO. And again, if you bounce off of it, if it's too hard, talk to me. Maybe you want to drop back to regular USABO. Maybe you're not ready for advanced. Okay. I strongly recommend taking chemistry at some point in high school. Especially, I'd recommend taking chemistry, like, especially when a student is really serious about the USABO exam and about being a biologist in general. Chemistry classes are really, really helpful. It's hard, especially molecular, cell and molecular biology is going to be hard without a chemistry background of any kind. It's just going to be harder. There's going to be stuff that you miss out on until you get chemistry, and then you'll come back and you'll understand it more deeply. It's not that you can't learn. You will still get a lot from the class, but a chemistry background will help you. If you took honors bio last year, can you take USABO without taking AP bio? Yes, you can. If you're not sure, check with me. But I bet you can take regular USABO without taking AP bio, especially if you have the work ethic. Should you take AP chemistry before AP bio? In my high school, it was a prerequisite to take chemistry before biology. I don't think you need it. When I teach the AP bio class, I give enough for students to be able to do well in that exam regardless. But I mean, if you truly have no concept of what an atom is, it's going to be a bit challenging to try and learn them really quickly, right? So having a little bit of a chemistry, even like a middle school chemistry background, is helpful. I do teach you all the chemistry that you're going to need, but I'm not a chemistry teacher and we do it very quickly. It's just one review day. So for some students, they really need more chemistry than that. Okay. So this, I just wanted to show you to understand what classes are offered when during the school year. So you can see in the summer, I'm doing Honors Bio, AP Bio, USABO, and Advanced USABO. During the school year, this is the same exact AP Bio class again, right? If you take it during the summer, you're doing it in about 2 months. If you take it during the school year, you're doing it in about 4 months. So you're learning it more slowly over the school year. But remember, AP Bio was intended to be a one-semester college-level introductory biology course. It can be done in a semester, and I teach it in a semester. The way I am about all exams is we learn separately from prepping for a test, because learning a new concept should have its own time. Preparing for a test and getting test-taking skills is a different set of work. So all my AP students, I strongly recommend to prepare for the AP exam. Y'all, the AP exam is not an easy exam. It's not like, what's the job of the mitochondria? Which of the following is the powerhouse of the cell? It's not a simple matching exam, right? It requires complex connections between many concepts for most questions. And so even if you don't want to take a prep course, if you're preparing for the AP exam, I recommend starting in March. The exam is in May. Start in March. Start reviewing. Review 5 chapters a week. It's going to take you like 10 weeks to review at 5 chapters a week. And do practice tests. If you take the AP prep course with me, I'll make you take practice tests. If you are very self-motivated, you don't need a teacher to make you, that's great. But if you know yourself and you know that if a teacher doesn't make you, you won't do it, please come take it with me. I'll help encourage you. All right. USABO during the summer, USABO during the fall is the same exact course over a different timeline. In the summer, it's over 2 months. In the school year, it's over 4 months. But in the summer, usually you don't have any other priorities. And in the school year, you have a full course load. So, I think it's probably better to take the USABO over the summer. You can just fully focus on it. Regardless of if you take it during the summer or during the school year, before the actual contest, I recommend doing a prep. Even if you don't do the prep course with me, do the prep course yourself of taking practice exams. The USABO exams are so hard. You really want to do practice exams, okay? If you want to get in touch, like you want more practice exams for AP or USABO, ask. I'm happy to give you. Even if you're not my student, I don't care. I'm happy to give you. But certainly Spring Light makes AP practice exams free for all of our students. Even if you don't take the prep class with us, we want you to prepare well for the test. That's our goal. Yes, any course with a video will have the video available for long after the course is over. In part because I know students like to watch it again before the test. I know students like to watch it again to review. Sometimes I have students who watch it again 2 years later or 3 years later. I recently got an email from a kid in med school who was like, hey, I'm still looking at my old biology notes for some things from you. And I'm like, I'm so glad they're useful. But yeah, no, we want you to have whatever you need to succeed. Is taking AP Chem a must in order to succeed in USABO? Not at all. Not at all. But understanding atoms, molecules, acids, and bases is necessary. And I do teach those. I do teach those. But students who've taken a chemistry class have an easier time with them. Does that feel like it's addressed your chemistry question? All right, so people are really asking, will the USABO class plus the USABO prep class be enough to get to semifinalist? For most students, for many students, it is. The USABO class, just this textbook, plus the USABO prep, which is a lot of practice tests, are enough to make semifinalist. But to make finalist, to get from semifinalist to being the top 20 in the nation, usually you need more. Now, for the record, I had one kid who actually only took AP Bio with me. He took AP Bio with me, and then he took some one-on-one classes, and he made it to finalist. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but for most students, having the advanced USABO really helps. And certainly some students might take USABO during the summer, advanced USABO during the fall, USABO prep December, January, and feel like they've gotten as thorough a grounding as they can. But please don't feel like you have to do it all in the same year and all at once, right? Take it at whatever pace works for you and your learning. Some of us just like to sit down and read biology textbooks. Um, the semifinalist for 2 years ago actually told me that one of the textbooks was her fun bedtime reading, right? Like she read it to relax at night. But not all of us are like that, right? So please, at whatever pace works for you and your learning. Yeah, your middle school chemistry knowledge is going to be helpful. Yeah. I think most middle schools teach enough chemistry that you know what's going on, right? But some really don't. It depends on your middle school. Okay. Just reading back, what did I miss? So are we all comfortable with like literally this thing on the screen right here? Any questions about this? All right. So if you've taken AP Bio, you probably should start with advanced USABO. And if advanced USABO is too hard, considered regular USABO. But if you've already taken AP Bio, I say come do advanced USABO with me. I think you will love it and be really excited and really interested in it. To get to USABO semifinalist, a regular USABO course is probably enough to get you started, but advanced USABO course really does help. What's the time commitment like? Let's go back to that. Good question. So let's say you're taking AP Bio. I think it's a 2 hour class or 2.5 hour class each week. Um, and then I would say you're going to have at least 2 hours of homework each week. That's during the school year. Double it during the summer because the summer is half as long, right? So you're doing twice as much in half as long time. Um, but some students take longer to learn and some students are faster to learn. Um, I think if I was taking my own AP Bio class, I would be probably doing at least 5 hours of homework a week in addition to the class if I was taking my own AP Bio class, because that's my learning pace. If a student is having a very busy week, we've all been there, we've all done that, we've all had a busy week. I ask at least review your notes. So at least take 30 minutes to review your notes. You can always come back to do the homework from this week that you missed. You won't, I mean, you'll get confused, but you'll be able to keep learning next week and the week after, right? It's not like if you miss one week, that's it. All the levels fall down, the knowledge leaks out of your ears, and you die a failure, right? You can miss a week, you can have a hard week, you can come back to it. I accept homework after the class is over, even, because I know some students come back to it during winter break or during spring break, and then they suddenly submit all this homework while they're practicing, you know? The USABO workload is higher. So the USABO class during the fall, it's 3 hours in class time a week. We do take breaks. Generally, students tell me that they don't have trouble paying attention, but it can sometimes get a little hard. We do take breaks. In addition, I would expect that you're doing an hour a day, at least an hour a day of homework the rest of the week, 5 days a week, an hour a day minimum. If I was taking my USABO class, I'd have to do at least 2 hours a day of homework to keep up with it personally. Because, like, I know I'm a slow reader the first time I'm learning something. I know I procrastinate and then it takes me forever to get started, right? Like, I know I need longer. And I know some of my students are like, yeah, no, I put in an hour and I reviewed everything and I feel good. So there's going to be variation, but I'd say a minimum of an hour practice a week, an hour practice a day in addition to the class. Now, the advanced USABO. So let me tell you how we're doing it during the summer. During the summer, the advanced USABO is 2 hours Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's 10 to noon every day. And we kind of alternate. So physiology one day, cell molecular the next, right? So you have a little bit of time. You don't have to know it. You don't have to read and memorize for the next day. You have a little bit of a gap, which helps people, I think. Then in your own time, I would be putting in probably at least 2 additional hours. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So like the class in the morning, have some lunch, do at least 2 hours of reading, thinking, and homework, and then take a break. I think if you do that, you'll learn so much. And if you want to do 3 hours of work or 4 hours of work in the afternoon, you'll learn even more, right? Depends on you and your work ethic and your commitment, how long it takes you to learn a thing. But generally, 2 hours in the morning in the class and then 2 hours to 3 hours in the afternoon of homework probably will have you learning a lot and being really on top of things. After taking the course, how long can I still access the recorded course videos? Years, years. And I will guarantee it as well as the Google Classroom until the next exam. So if you took it during the summer and the exam is the next year in the fall or whatever, I'll guarantee it until then. Okay. Um, we don't have a diagnostic, but the student can just talk to me. I'm happy to talk to a student for 5, 10 minutes and give them a sense of what's the best steps for their goals. Yeah, so let me just put my email into the chat for y'all. Did I spell that right? There we go. So that's my email address. Email me if you want to set up a time to have a conversation or just have any additional questions that you didn't get to ask. Yeah. And should you learn anatomy? Anatomy is really cool and interesting, but you generally don't need detailed anatomy for the USABO. You do need it for certain other Olympiads and science bowls, and you certainly need it if you want to go to medical school. So I always tell my students when we're learning the physiology course, if you want to memorize a bunch of anatomy, here's a textbook. It's worth your time if you want to go to medical school. If you're not going to medical school, it's not worth your time. Only if you want to. Okay, like I feel like I've answered this question 3 times, so I'm going to answer it one last time, and then we're not talking about AP chemistry anymore, okay? Chemistry helps. More chemistry is more help with biology. But I will teach you the chemistry you need in the biology course. So if you come with zero chemistry background, you can still learn biology and it'll be okay. And more chemistry would help. If you take a real chemistry course, it would help you. Many of my students have taken AP Bio with zero chemistry background and gotten 5s on the AP exam. And still, a little chemistry would be helpful. Does that feel like it's fully answered your question for that? Any last chemistry biology questions? Okay. I will leave my email address in the chat again. Here you guys go. Okay. Yes, the summer advanced USABO and the fall advanced USABO follow basically the same syllabus, cover the same material. One thing that you do have to recognize with all my classes is every class is a little different because the students are different. The students ask different questions, they have different interests. We'll spend longer or shorter on different material depending on what students need. There's always going to be variation, but we basically have the same syllabus and the same things, similar types of homework to make sure students get enough practice. You can take advanced USABO as long as you have at least AP Bio level understanding, as long as you've, read most of Campbell or a lot of Campbell biology textbook. And, if you show up for advanced USABO and you're bouncing off of it instantly, then go back and do the regular USABO instead. Okay. For honors bio, do I cover middle school concepts? Yeah, because here's the deal. Biology at different levels is always the same biology. So like honors AP and USABO is actually the same biology. You're learning the parts of the cell, you're learning evolution, you're learning, cell respiration, but you're learning them at a different level of detail. So honors bio is just shallow, AP bio is deeper, and then USABO is very deep, right? So you can absolutely take AP bio and know that you've learned everything an honors bio student would need. Does that make sense? The other thing I want to mention is different schools have different things on their syllabuses. So one school might randomly expect the honors bio students to learn about STDs as a unit, and another school might not, right? But the AP bio is written by the College Board, and it's always the same topics every year. That's what I teach, what's on the actual AP exam. Other AP teachers might throw other extra stuff in there for fun, but I just teach what you need for the AP exam because we got limited time. We're teaching you on the weekend here. We got limited time. Every class is going to be recorded. Every class is available if you need to go back and listen. Zoom sometimes breaks, right? The internet sometimes breaks. We're always going to have recordings of every class for you. Can you level up from USABO to advanced? Yes, I've had students join the USABO class, decide that it's too boring, and then decide to join the advanced instead. It's totally fine. In my honors bio, we don't have a textbook. I basically write information summaries for students. But I do recommend that if I have an honors bio student who really likes to read textbooks, that they get a start on this one. Now, for the advanced USABO, our textbooks are more interesting. So the advanced USABO really attacks it from a college level physiology class, a college level botany class. So we have college level textbooks for each of these. And these are similar to the ones that are recommended by the USABO. What are they called? The board, the people who make USABO happen. So they consider this the biology Bible. I think most American students consider Campbell to be the biology Bible, so that's where you start. And then they have other textbooks that they recommend for higher levels. I generally recommend buying used copies of the textbooks. So for example, with Campbell's Biology, we're up to like the 12th edition now, right? But I recommend you buy the 9th edition for $10 used on Amazon. It's much cheaper, has all the same information. I also make PDFs available for students who request, because I understand some of us need a PDF of something. Vanders, I recommend, not this edition, the previous edition, because once the previous edition, it's like a tenth of the price. But I think it's really good to have physical copies of the textbooks. It's easier to read and, put sticky notes in your notebook as you go. Yeah. Oh my goodness, we're like losing time. I got distracted by answering all y'all's questions and I didn't get to everything I wanted to say. Let me just really quickly look at this list. Do you need physics classes for biology? You do need some basics of physics, but no, you don't need, no, I don't think you need a physics class to do well in biology. Where to find USABO practice questions? Go to the USABO website, the usabotrc.org. Go to the student corner, to the content information, and there they have links to previous exams, or you can just send me an email. And I got this document where I keep links to all of these old exams and the keys, and I'll be very happy to send you a link. Let's see, what else? Is video available immediately? Yes. Study strategies. I've been meaning to get to study strategies. Okay, give me an exclamation mark in the chat if you would find study strategies useful right now. Yeah? Yeah, that's a lot of, I see those. All right. I want to make sure we get to these before we run out of time. Okay. So these study strategies work for AP, they work for USABO, and they work for honors. Okay, first, ongoing vocab list. Every chapter is going to have new biology vocabulary, right? Have a notebook or a document or an area in your notebook that is just dedicated to your ongoing vocab list. When I read, sometimes I take notes, sometimes I don't have time to take notes, but I always write down all the vocab words and I write an explanation of them in my own words as my method of making sure I understood them. And then you have that list for studying for every exam. And I would honestly recommend copying the list, like rewriting the list, writing the vocab word, and then coming up with a different explanation using my own words every time as a way of really drilling the concepts in. I also recommend keeping a confusing vocab list. Um, the centrosome versus the centriole versus the centromere. Guess what? They all start with the same centro. It's really easy to confuse those three words. So I keep a separate page where I review easily confused words. When I am studying for any exam, I will review my notes. I will rewrite my notes using new words, try to say them differently. And I will also try to write paragraphs where I connect the vocab words to each other. If I don't want to write, because not all of us like writing, some of us bounce off of writing, I will explain it out loud to my invisible and very confused friend. Or, I'll get my grandma or my little sister to sit down and I'll explain it to them. Because using information is how you learn it. Reading it is not how you learn it. Using the information is how you learn it. When you read, active reading means taking enough breaks during your reading to re-say it in your own words to make sure you actually understood it. Yeah. Highlighting doesn't work nearly as well as writing a note down in your own words and forcing yourself to use it. Um, all right. Now, specific to the AP Bio, the Campbell biology book, this biology Bible, is what was is what was read by the people who write the test. I regularly find questions from in here in the AP test, versions of those questions. So when you're looking at Campbell, for any chapter in Campbell, as you're going through, there's going to be like concept check questions at the end of every section. Do those. But there's especially going to be multiple choice problems and essay style problems at the end of every chapter. And those are incredibly useful. Do those. Even if your high school teacher isn't making you, do these and learn from having done these. I've had students, especially, rising ninth graders, whose first experience is that these questions are just trying to hurt them. They're hurting their brain. It's so hard. It's doable, but it's hard work. And by the end of the semester, oh, these are quick and easy. These are AP style. AP style is this style. Learn to do these problems, you'll be able to do the AP very well. Also, when doing the reading, don't skip the science pictures. What do I mean by the science pictures? Let's find a good chapter here. Right? They will have like whole experiments where they describe what was done in the experiment and then they ask you questions about the experiment. Those are a really good use of your time, right? Every time they're showing you data, make sure you can interpret the data. Right. For a USABO score, how high does it need to be? It depends every year it changes because they grade it on a curve. So you're competing against everybody else. Generally at least 50% correct, sometimes a little bit more. It's out of 50 questions. The open exam is out of 50 questions. And usually if you get 30 right, you're semifinalist. Yeah. Highest cutoff ever was like 29, but I've seen cutoffs like 19. Like sometimes if you got 20 questions out of 50 correct, you made it to the next level. Some years are harder than others. Um, Questions about study strategies? Before I forget, again, for the AP exam, test prep books, by which I mean Scholastic, Princeton Review, any of those extra test prep books that you pay for are useless. I mean, they're okay for pure memorizing content, but their practice questions are not actually very representative of the practice of the real exam. The best practice exams are just old AP exams. We have some of those at Springlight. We're very happy to share them with you to give you good practice. How to balance study versus research. Listen, if you have a research internship, prioritize that baby, okay? Research internships are cool. You're going to learn some math. You're going to go so much. Listen, the stuff that you're studying for USABO, you can also study it in college. But like this internship, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to be doing this research. Do your research. And I generally find that my students who do research do really well on the USABO because they've gotten a lot of real world hands-on biology experience, and that really helps them more deeply understand biology. And that shows on the contests. But yeah, if you're like, should I study for USABO or should I make progress on my independent biology research? Independent biology research. That said, studying for the USABO prepares you for research and helps inform your research. How hard is the USABO out of 10? I think we've already said 500, right? If you Yeah, if you take the USABO course, you will be prepared for the AP exam. Absolutely. Hopefully, I've fully answered both of these questions already. To take the USABO test, you have to sign up through their website. Sometimes you can take it through your own school. Sometimes you have to take it through other schools. Springlight offers it for students who can't find it at their own school. We only have like 30 spots or whatever. So like try it through your school first. I think we've talked about these scores. We've shown you where to get more practice questions. We've done this. We've done that. We've done the USABO levels. USABO levels are open, semifinal, and finalist. And after that, you go on to like the International Olympiad, Biology Olympiad. Okay, if you're a sixth grader who's been studying biology for 1 year and you want to take the USABO, here's what I got for you. I have had sixth graders make it to semifinal after taking the regular USABO course. And I've also had sixth graders who just bounce off the textbook because they're not ready for it yet. It really depends on you, your reading comprehension, your critical thinking skills. The brain develops in different people at a different rate. So get in touch with me and let's have a conversation so we can see where you're at, so I can give you the best advice I can give you, okay? Oh my goodness, we answered all of these questions. Y'all, which of your questions haven't I answered? What else do you want to ask? All right. Give me an exclamation mark if you learned at least one useful thing today that you will find useful in your own life. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's wonderful. Schedule for summer. Yes. So if you all want to register for any of the summer classes, first off, I'm going to give you a link for that, okay? Here's a link for the summer registration. Now, the way the schedule for the summer works is this. We're going to be doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, advanced USABO. All right. During the first 9 lessons, it's going to be physiology on Mondays and Wednesdays. During the last 6 lessons, it's going to be botany on Mondays and Wednesdays. Cell and Molecular on Tuesday, Thursdays, and then genetics during the last 6 lessons on Tuesday, Thursdays. USABO is going to be Mondays, Wednesdays, 12:30 to 3. Honors Bio is going to be Tuesdays, Thursdays, 12:30 to 2:30. And then AP Bio is going to be 3 to 5:30. Yes. If you would like a link for any textbook, please send me an email. I'm just going to give you my email address again because I'm not going to be able to give you a link to a textbook over Zoom. Will the Advanced USABO full package cover everything you need to know? Okay, that's a great question. Biology is this big, and the USABO exam generally only asks you about this much of it. But sometimes the USABO exam will grab things from random places. I will never be able to teach you this much biology in the time we have together. I teach you this much biology, and sometimes this kind of thing happens on the USABO, right? So I can never teach you everything you will need to know, but I can teach you a lot of the stuff you're most likely to need to know, is the answer to that. Um, these are the slots available this summer. Other slots will be available over fall. Fall basically is going to be Saturday nights and Sundays. If you want time that isn't available here, option one, just watch the videos. Option two, have one-on-one classes with me. I do have some room for one-on-one students this summer. When does it all start? It starts on the 15th, so it starts in about a week is going to be the first day of summer classes. Did I miss any questions? How many times do you need to read the Campbell biology book? I don't know. How good are you at memorizing? I generally think you need to have read it once for like big picture understanding and once a little slower for the details. But often you read a chapter once, then you do the questions, then you look at it again, then you review your notes, and you end up ultimately reading it 5, 6 times every chapters between all the times you keep studying it. If you have to miss a couple classes, it's okay. Try to watch the videos so you're not falling behind. The USMDA, that's a medical one, right? The USABO class will help you with that, but it's not designed around the questions on the USMDA. It's designed around the questions on the USABO. Um, so let me just, I know some people are wanting to get a link to these notes. So let me just share them with y'all, okay? Here was our notes for the class, for our seminar today. And here is some of what we covered together. Absolutely. Again, I'm still sitting here. If you have any last questions about anything, if you think about something later, just email me, okay? I'm here to help. And I'm really hoping I'll see a bunch of you in a bunch of the classes. I'm especially hoping, I know some of you are already my students. I'm really hoping that you're excited about Advanced USABO and that we have a lot of fun together this summer. Oh, where to get practice exams? I showed you guys. It is on the USABO website, the Student Corner, content information. They have links to old exams. That's how you get practice exams for previous year's exams. Um, it is helpful to at least have a PDF that's the same that we're using in the entire class. So we're all answering the same questions in the same order. Yeah. Um, how do the one-on-one classes work? I design them for you. It's a one-on-one class. So you tell me what your goals are. I design the content based on what you want to learn or what your goals are, what content you will need for your goals. And we go whatever pace you need in order to learn well. That's why the one-on-one classes are going to be more expensive, right? Because they're designed for you. But they're honestly, I think, the best way to learn because it's perfect for you, whatever it is that you need. The one-on-one rate, off the top of my head, Springlight can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's 150 an hour. And then for USABO, it's a bit more expensive. But for most biology, we'll just start at regular 150 an hour. Um, Harika, I think I fully answered your question there, right? Good. Oh, how many hours to cover all the content? Well, if you know that a USABO course is 16 classes, 3 hours each. That's 16 times 3 hours for me to literally say everything. However, for one-on-one, we're usually not trying to do that. For one-on-one, usually there's specific topics or specific goals or something specific you're trying to do, or maybe you're doing a lot independently and you just want my help with some things. Usually we're not trying to recreate the entire USABO class one-on-one, as that would not be the most efficient use of our time, right? Okay. So for example, you might want to watch the video independently and then have one-on-one classes for me with me for the topics you need the most help with, for example. Any other questions? Yeah, thank you for coming. Thank you for all those questions. I hope I got to everything. I hope you guys feel more empowered and send me emails if you need any more help with anything, all right? Bye. Thank you. The video will get shared in the next few hours. Yeah. USABO class is a 3 hour class. Every meeting is a 3 hour class. Yes. Oh, I think I missed a message there. Thank you. I'll look forward to your email. 12:30 to 3:30 on Mondays and Wednesdays. Yeah, 12:30 to 3:30 on Mondays and Wednesdays for the USABO class. Yeah, starting next week, Monday. So the 15th, June 15th.
不是个大是蛮好的。
Then you will watch the video for the last half hour of class. It's okay if you have to leave at 3 and then just watch the video later that day or the next day for the last half hour. You're still very welcome in the class. Yes, you can totally just watch the recordings and email me if you have any questions. Absolutely. Okay, I think we've actually stopped. I think we're done. All right. Good night, everyone. Bye.